The reality is that international partnering is pretty much the way to go when it comes to selling into international markets. The more the product becomes, or the more whatever you're selling becomes more like a product, the more likely it is that having a local representative in market to sell is both a good strategy as well as something that inevitably you're going to end up doing, especially in any market where English is not the primary language. Because then you're going from everything from how do you talk to somebody at the airport all the way straight through to how you write a contract in that particular language. But fundamentally, there is going to inevitably be the need to partner with, or at least talk to, somebody in that market that's either going to give you advice or is actually going to lead you to others within that market and then be able to get opportunities out of it. And so essentially associations, whenever we run this program, one of the things we do is we team up with an association in Canada, or maybe even one or two of them, that have access to these lists and or these communities that all are part of the types of prospects that we would be targeting. So if you're looking for producers, then any association in any international market that has big lists of producers and has gatherings where producers gather is certainly going to be something that you want to focus on. And you definitely want to be able to focus on sector group associations. So one of the first pieces of any type of tactical marketing plan that I've done is that I find the top 3 websites that are going to identify these particular companies. And I am always pleasantly surprised. I've found lists of 500 companies with email addresses ready to go, sitting on a PDF because maybe it was a PDF of an event that they had, and then they published the list afterwards, and for good or for bad, didn't necessarily hide it or protect it. But that's just an example of the fact that I can, now that I know which market, now that I know where I want to go, I'm finding enormous amounts of data and information about people that I should be getting a hold of. Then I'm taking that list, I'm doing some research on them, and then I'm figuring out which ones are the perfect potential customers I want to talk to. And then I'm going to find out if they're going to the next event that I'm attending. That's my whole life, really, right there when it comes to prospecting and marketing. Is that I'm going to find out a list of people in that association or organization, then I'm going to figure out whether or not they're coming to the next event that I was going to spend some money on and actually get on a plane and go to. By the time I get to that particular event, I've already connected with at least 24 of them, and I've set up at least 10 meetings. So it's not rocket science, but at the same time, it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of detail. And if you don't have time for this, you need to find someone that does. And this gets right back to the who's doing the international. Get a junior associate, 3rd year international marketing out from the college, and he spends the summer just hammering through this stuff and gives you a list of 500 to 600 opportunities to work on the next 2 years. That's the type of thing you have to invest in. You don't have to do it really expensively. You don't have to send somebody over there to create a relationship and then eventually get the list. Sometimes you do, but most times we don't. This information is public. So this is the type of thing where we need to dig in, and maybe that resource starts to dig in and then does cross-reference research into LinkedIn to find out whether they're still there. That's important. I've done this, unfortunately, at least twice, where I have sent an email or an invitation to a meeting to somebody that's passed away. And I can tell you that does not look professional at all, right? It's just, not only are you not aware of it, but had you just done a little bit of research on the internet. Now, 20 years ago, of course, it's really hard to know, but nowadays, these are the types of things. Is he still there? Has he been promoted? The guy that I knew at the BC Liquor Board now is in charge of all liquor purchases. So now he's gone higher up that food chain. And getting a hold of him now is even better if I've got a client that's interested in that particular, or I have content, or I have any type of a product that he's going to be interested in. You certainly want to make sure that you are leveraging, the government Trade Commissioner Service and any advisor groups. This is especially important when you get an advisor group who has any type of, let's say, warnings about doing business in a specific market. Nice warnings are if your product doesn't conform to the government standard, then you need to know that. So there are about 50 to 60 markets in the world where censorship is an absolute true fact of life. They will decide whether your content goes into the country and whether it is accepted by any organization. And this isn't just China. There's a whole big number of other markets. And so when Netflix takes your product and starts pitching it, you have to have that conversation with them too, because they have to be advised. They'll probably know. They'll probably give you lots of great information about that. But that is kind of where we go with government and advisory groups, is that get assistance in understanding where your content will actually play. That's all stuff that you can get out of advisors within certain markets and or within the government here, and you can get that help. Because there's nothing worse than trying to pitch something and then you get a lot of no's simply because of the content itself. And sometimes you don't get that feedback. So you don't know why you're rejected. Having somebody in market and or somebody touch the government that can help with that is huge.